Everyone. It is that time.
I saw the 3, 2, 1, so I'm sorry. Just
That's all right.
my childhood kicked in.
It's that time of the week again. Whether you want to call us your therapy session, your hangout session, just whatever. It's Outside the Box Live, the most anticipated talk show Saturday nights. And why isn't Instagram connecting today? I don't know. All right. So
Yeah, we were
sorry,
just
Instagram
discussing.
people. Let me see if
We were just discussing babushkas before you guys, joined us.
yes, years ago, what Mike has on his head was
My
known back.
grandmother would have called it a babushka.
My grandma, same. My grandmother called it a babushka too. My mother, my grandmother.
Well, if you remember way back when headscarves were popular, where you take a bandana and tie it over your head like a
Wrap it
scarf.
around.
Uh,
Hello, Susan. How are you? All right. Sorry,
my
Instagram.
mom,
You ain't working tonight. Don't know why.
my mom used to bust on me and call it my babushka. Basically, I wear one of these now because I still have long hair,
Right.
but I don't like dealing with it a lot of the time.
So it's just easier to go.
So yeah, I take a hairnet, put it up in a hairnet, and then throw this over it so that you can't see that I'm wearing a hairnet. Because I don't know, that'd be embarrassing for, I guess, I don't know. But that's rather than cut it off and then 3 days later be like, oh God, what did I do? There are ways of ditching your hair without actually you know cutting it all off.
Susan, I did not know that. See, back in our day, like my grandmother would call a headscarf a babushka. My mother called it a babushka. So that's
And we lost Jay. Oh God, and here I am on my own. So to those of you you know waiting for it, it's the Mike Show. With me, I'm Mike. It's the Mike Show. And I got lots of good guests. Actually, I don't have anybody, nobody, we don't have anybody to talk to tonight. So I got to do this all on my own. There's Jay.
all right. Yep, something my yep. Sorry about that, guys. I got something. My computer did something stupid.
So, Susan, by extension, if babushka means grandmother, does babushko mean grandfather? Or
Good question.
babushki? Oh, I'm a lot Russian.
I'm a no Russian.
To my knowledge, I'm Russian, Ukrainian, and half Lithuanian. My mother was fully Lithuanian. So, from what I understand, the ancestry is actually Balt, which the Balts basically taught the Vikings how to Viking. Uh, the ancestry is Balt, and oh God, what was that tribe? Tsar Nicholas actually hired members of my father's family to be bodyguards. Uh, it's escaping me now. Cossacks. Yeah, I'm actually descended from Cossacks. Hence the whole 8 foot tall, ginormous dude thing.
I don't know. I'm just thrown out together. That's all. Um, but hey, guys, welcome to another great show tonight. Fred's not here because he was at a wedding and he partied too hardy, and not going to join us tonight. Um, Gina, she's out of commission tonight too, so it's just me and Mike. But but we're glad you're all here. If you're new to the show, please like and subscribe to our channels. They're in the description. And, just to kind of give a keep on what I'm doing now. I'm trying to be more healthier. I'm doing exercises just about every other morning, which I'll have another exercise show this midnight. It'll be premiering, but we might show that here during tonight's show too as a preview. DZED. I don't know. I have no idea. So today was interesting. Should I tell you now or tell you later after I show the video? I don't know.
Why? What's up?
I got a call days ago from Performance Kia, and they're in need of used cars. All right, they call them pre-owned cars now. I'm sorry, they're not used; they're pre-owned. Well, my 24 only has 6,000 miles on it. Bought it brand new. Not even 1,000 miles a month. I have this thing, so they want it. So they're like, "How'd you feel about trading up trading?" I said, "Well, I only had this car for about a year and maybe half. I have a 5-year loan. I'm probably going to be. How you doing, Cam Alto? But wait a minute. Babcia is grandmother in Polish. I'm Polish. I did not know that. I just called her I just called her Nana.
Actually, my ex-wife was part Polish. She had a Polish grandmother, and the kids always called her Babci.
Grandma was Nana. Grandpa was Pop on my mom's side. So I get a call from a guy, Amirian. I can't say his name. From
Yes, Susan, that would be the Shalimar.
Yep.
Been there, drank there, partied there, had too good of a time there in my life. I used to live in Mountaintop.
That's right, you did. And speaking of the paranormal side, coming up on the July 4th weekend, I believe, years ago, the Battle of Wyoming, the massacre, when our troops marched from 44 to Exeter and they got slaughtered. So you might see some paranormal activity this week up here in my area. Those that are looking for it.
Well, Amir called you up trying to buy your car.
Oh, okay. Yep, back on that. Sorry, I got sidetracked. So
I understand.
He's like, "Hey, I see you have a 24." I'm like, "I only have it for about a year and a half. I have a 5.5 year loan. I'm probably going to be upside down." He goes, "Oh, we got great deals going on. People, we want your car because it's low mileage and blah 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 blah." I said, What are you going to
how the hell did he know what the mileage was?
What was that?
I said, how the hell did he know what the mileage was? Is he keeping in your...
He asked me. I'm like, he's like, "How many miles you got on?" I'm like, "Only 6,000. 6,700. He's like,
the engine's not even... Yeah, the engine's not even broken in.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not even broken in yet. So they're like, "You got to come down. We'll get you into. We'll get you into the newest model, which is the K4. The K4 replaced the Forte. They're not going to make any Fortes anymore." And so they're like, I'm like, "All right." So I go up. I'm talking to the general, like the GM, also, and he's like, "I'm going to take your information and want to take the car for a drive." Oh, man, let me tell you. What up, Mike?
What's up?
This thing looked like a spaceship, like all the gadgets, and it was like really cool looking. And the thing drove nice. But I'm not going to tell you what happened because I'm going to put the video up soon and see what happened. But I was there today. Great guys. If you're looking for a car, great deals are going on at Performance Kia in Music. Okay, let's see. Susan had to sell my car to Cabana today. They came up this evening to get it. Ooh, furnace, the one I'm using now. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. That's, and I added a new step to my exercising. And thank you guys that are following my exercise. I know it's not a lot. It's like a couple things I get winded out, but I'm trying. And tomorrow I will have a weigh in because I went down to Dollar Tree tonight because I was going to do a live weigh in. They don't sell scales. Okay.
Get a digital one at Walmart. That's where I got mine.
That's where I'll end up probably going tomorrow. But I'm like, they have the little, Dollar Tree has it's now Family Dollar Tree. They got the little desk fans you can plug into your USB ports, and they got but no scales. I'm like, all right, that makes sense. Andres is Slavic.
Gina wants me to say, or Gina said, mention how there's only 3 donors for my GoFundMe. So there are only 3 donors for Gina's GoFundMe. And
Ooh, let's here I'm going to flip that back. Okay. Yep, what Mike was talking about, Gina is having a tough time right now. She hasn't been able to work because of her injury. Excuse me. If you click on the QR code on the top left of your screen, that's her GoFundMe page. If you could help her out in any way, be appreciated.
Well, thank you.
That'll help.
Because by extension, if you're helping her, you're helping me because I'm the one who's, it's kind of on me to,
carrying everything. Yeah, so help Gina and Mike, really. If you guys can. If I know there's 9 people watching, even if you threw like $5, it's $45. I know it's not.
I was saying, if everybody that Gina knew and everybody that I knew, threw in $5, that would be amazing.
It's
actually, if everybody that the 2 of us knew threw in $1, that would be amazing.
It would. I'm sorry to hear that, Susan. Oh, $7,000 for new furnace. Ugh.
That sucks.
Yeah, but you gotta do what you gotta do, and that does suck.
I had mine cleaned a couple of years ago. I should have had it done last year, but I didn't have the cash. The guy doing it. They're basically there's an outfit. I forget their name now. Really good people though. They're up on Darling Street, which is like walking distance from here. Even for my lame ass, it's walking distance from here. And they swung by and cleaned it all out. And the guy's like, "This thing looks like it hasn't been cleaned out in 10 years." I'm like, "It probably hasn't." I've only owned this building for like 5 years, and less time then.
Anyway, so yesterday I designated Friday to be a cheat day. That's my cheat day. And down the road from me, Sliders was always a happening little corner bar. Well, during COVID, the original owners, they actually after COVID they sold out. But someone else bought it and reopened it. So I went down yesterday. And wasn't bad. I mean, I got some wings. The only thing though, like Sliders were known for their fresh cut fries, and the only thing now it's pre-cut like McDonald's looking fries. I'm like, ugh. But the wings were good. I got a mild. You actually get 12 in a dozen, which was nice. I met the owner. She's really, really nice person. So if you guys are around this area, check out the new Sliders. Or I'm just,
You'll be glad you did.
Yeah, they have the pool tables up still. They have the jukebox. They have the TVs going for the sports. I've noticed though something changed with me in the last probably couple months. Like nothing tastes right anymore. Like I was like first time I had a beer and I couldn't tell you how long. I got a mug of Coors Light, what I always drank, and it just didn't taste right. Like I'm like, what the hell? Even today, like after I left Performance Kia, Susan was telling me Susan, that's what I wanted to tell you. There is up in it's Dixon City. There's an A&W, but it's an A&W Long John Silver's. So they really don't have a lot of the A&W, but they have like the burgers and stuff. So I got the Papa Burger, however you want to call it. That kicked ass. That was good. And they do waffle fries, which I was like, yes, I liked. So that was my. It's like really didn't have a cheat day. That was my kind of cheat day today, yesterday. Now I'll go back to home cooked stuff till next Friday. But yeah, I'm trying to stick with this. And here's the funny thing with my new exercising and stuff. This past, was it Thursday? Yeah. No, Wednesday, because Wednesday I got paid. So I'm like, I'm going to go to the store, got stuff for, grocery shopping, that kind of shit. And I come home, put everything away. I'm like, I'm hungry. Now, normally I would just call Villa Pizzeria. I'd call Villa Pizzeria or Barry Pizza. Oh, because Villa's closed on Wednesdays. That's right. Usually I looked at Barry's menu. I'm like, I'm going to just order me pizza or something. But I actually felt guilty of thinking about ordering a pizza. I'm like, oh, I've been doing good with my exercises. I literally felt guilty. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, what the hell? Like, I never felt guilty before about ordering food. But I did.
Accountability.
I had two beers yesterday, and I'm like I felt like guilty and like part of me like, what the hell? So I mean, I'm actually like,
you keep saying guilty, and it's taking me back to childhood again. If you remember the beginning of the first Superman movie with Christopher Reeve, when they pronounce they sentence General Zod and his cohorts to the Phantom Zone. Guilty.
Yeah, actually, like almost like I had a conscience. Like I'm like, wait a minute, no, I shouldn't be ordering. Today's not my cheat day. Tomorrow's my cheat day. Well, Friday's my cheat day. And one day I didn't. It was too hot out. It was too muggy, and I went out to try and do some exercise, and I was having a hard time breathing because of the mugginess, and I'm like, yeah, no, I can't do it. I actually felt bad that I missed a morning. I felt bad.
Like I said, that's accountability.
Yeah, but I'm like, where the hell did this come from? And why all of a sudden now? No, but no, I'm feeling a lot better. I'm feeling good. Most of the time in the morning I'm up, I'm energized. Like I said, that one morning I had, instead of going running down getting Burger King or McDonald's, I had 2 pieces of turkey bacon and 2 hard-boiled eggs. And that kept me going, and I was fine till dinner. And I cooked something. I did something on the stove for that, or I did chicken or something like that, pork chops. But yeah, like I'm even trying to talking the GF into like getting up early with me when the night she stays out and like go up and we'll do action. It shook me like I'm gonna slap you. But no, actually like now like look forward to doing those exercises in the morning. It's only a couple of different things that I can do right now, but in time. Marcus, who we see him on the show sometimes. Marcus recommended when you get when your stamina gets up, take a walk around the block. Thank you, Susan. Like take a walk around the block, and yep. I'm gonna, eventually I'll start taking Molly, me and Molly will start going for walks. But yeah.
I got some unintentional exercise this week.
What was that?
I got a letter or 2 letters from the city threatening me with basically we've been letting since Gina broke her leg. We've been kind of like letting the lawn and everything go, and we've been letting the side of the building, the alley. Actually, the world famous cat alley had weeds, and somebody was nice enough to call the city and complain. Which I got that firsthand from the Board of Health. So anyway, it was basically like you have 5 days from the date on top of this letter, which they sent it by mail, so it actually took 5 days to get here. And Gina's, screenshotting it and sending it to me at work, and it's like, oh my God. Between what's wrong with me, and she would normally do the yard work, but she has a severely broken leg. So then it's like, okay, well, it has to be me. And it's like, man, in this heat, and like even like the woman from the Board of Health, she's like, because I called her up and everything, and she's like, oh no, don't go out in this heat. I'm like, lady, you're not giving me a choice. You told me you're going to fine me at $2,000 if I don't get this done by close of business today. So what am I going to do here?
$2,000.
It was 2 separate things. One person from the Board of Health wrote up the alley. The other person wrote up the rear of the property.
Oh, so together, both of them were totaling $2,000.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I recently took out a loan because, financial problems.
Right.
I shouldn't say I took out a loan. I upped a loan. And there was a little bit left over there. I managed to buy one of the I bought a 16-inch lawnmower at Home Depot, and I'm glad I did, because it's like all we had is a push mower, and all I'm thinking to myself, it's like, you know what? It's like 100 degrees today. If I'm out there in 100-degree heat with a push mower, I'll end up. Whether if I spend it on a lawnmower or spend it on an ambulance, the money's going to get spent. I'll end up with a heart attack or a stroke out there today.
Let's say.
So spent $300 on a lawnmower. Glad I did.
Is it one where you hit the lever and it like self-propels?
No. I didn't get anything fancy. No, it's not self-propelling. It's a very basic. My only criteria was I didn't want a gas mower, because they're messy and they're not nice.
PIA.
So I got a battery mower, and the battery, I made sure we already had a weed whacker, so I made sure I got something with compatible batteries with the weed whacker and all that. And so anyway. Yeah, that's what I spent. Went home from work 4 hours early and
cut your grass.
Well, cut, trimmed. Did probably like something that I would have normally done over the course of a week.
You did in a day.
I did in a few hours. Had to take 2 showers because, oh my God, I was just, no matter what, I was just a sweaty mess. So yeah, unintentional exercise. When somebody threatens with fining you, money and putting liens against your property, you find energy.
Oh yeah, I remember when I owned my house in Exeter. Me and now ex-wife went on vacation. Come back, your grass is too hot. You want to say shut up? It's like, Mind your own business. You want to tell them, yeah, I think we got a letter to back way then. Oh, your grass. And, like, the size of my yard in Exeter was like, you put that in your living room. That's how small it was.
Yeah, my portion of the back lot is very small. I most of my back lot is encompassed by a garage that I barely use, and there's an alleyway back there that's not even a marked street. It's the old road that led up to the Courtright Street or the Courtright Ave school.
Okay, I know what you're talking.
Yeah, there's like a cut. There used to be like a cut through there, but people like walled and fenced it off because they got sick of, I don't know, people dealing drugs and stuff like that. I got quite a bit of that on video. It was actually on the channel, because people were still selling drugs back there. And, it's like, hey, you're on camera. So I let the world know. But anyway, you kind of have to really know where you're going to see that my backyard was overgrown. So I have a really good idea of which neighbor it was that I'm in hell and so should you be kind of attitude.
Oh, so it was somebody that just had it out. Like, somebody knows you who did it. It wasn't just like a random, oh, this neighbor here.
No, we have one particular neighbor who's kind of, just one of those neighbors,
I'm going to call it just because his grass is higher than it should.
Yeah, because, I mean, people are, like I said, the whole attitude is I'm in hell. You should be too. Never mind the fact that, hey, I have spinal stenosis. I'm gradually losing the feeling and the use of my legs. So, putting that kind of like load on me is kind of like, okay. Let's put it this way. I have my L5 disc is actually in my medical chart that it's obliterated. They actually use the word obliterated. And it's only half of it is there, like left. The rest disintegrated because I have degenerative disc. That's what caused all this. But anyway, basically when I move, that disc moves. I could feel it sliding around. And sometimes it ends up in bad spots. It's like, oh, hey, great. I can't feel my left leg today. Oh, hey, look at that. I can't get off the couch because both legs are gone. Yeah, there's, like I said, somebody in my condition probably shouldn't be doing stuff like that.
No.
I mean, I could end up with paralysis. But hey, as long as the neighbor's happy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but gee, that neighbor who's that guy over there, his grass that you can't really see is too high.
Yeah, busybody troublemaker. Like I said, it's a back alley. Unless you know what's there, you'd probably think it was somebody's driveway.
Or you'd pass right by and not even pay attention to it.
Yeah, I mean, it literally looks like a driveway, and it kind of is. So, I mean, most people don't go through there.
Unless you know it's there and you're cutting through
Well, like I said, the cut through is actually, it's been fenced off now.
Oh, so you can't cut through anymore.
No, that was even fenced off before I bought this place. Somebody went and fenced it all off. Which I can't blame them. I wouldn't want people, random people walking through my yard either.
Oh yeah, true.
When it happens now, and I mean, I confront these people immediately. Like if I see somebody in my yard, I'll walk right out there and I'll just be like, "Hey, hi, why are you trespassing on my property? Do you have a really good reason?" There's this weird law in Pennsylvania. I have multiple structures on my property. I have a detached garage at one end of my property and, the building on the other.
Okay.
When this comes from like actually like from having like farmhouses and barns and stuff, that if somebody is on your property and you have multiple structures, it's the same as if they broke into your house as far as castle doctrine is concerned. The point I'm making is if I chose to, I could shoot them. Now, I'd rather not shoot people. You know, that's heavy karma. I don't want to shoot anybody. So I just go out and yell at them. I figure like, okay, if they're gonna give me shit, then things might escalate. But I don't even want things to escalate. I just want people to stay the hell off my property.
Want to give a shout out to Evelyn. She's watching us. She threw us a like on my Facebook page. Thank you, Evelyn. Appreciate it for hanging out and hanging with us through the Facebook. It's so yeah, it's work's been decent. Can't complain. Work from home still. I say I'll work from home for as long as I can.
I don't blame you there. I miss it.
It's so if you're new to the show tonight, welcome. And for more content like those YouTube channels that stay up to date with all of what we do. Mike's channel is the Ghetto Theater of Wilkes-Barre. Basically, I mean, they're short mini clips, but some of those you're going to get a good laugh out of. Just some of the people that do stupid things that you cannot help laughing at. It's my channel is the food channel, mostly the food channel. And if you started watching, I'm trying to get a little bit healthier and, do some dubbing that's called My 300-Pound Life Journey. Last I weighed, I was 313. I got to do my weigh-in tomorrow. I don't have a scale, so I have to go. Got to get one tomorrow. So I'm going to do my weigh-in tomorrow, and we'll see what tomorrow else brings. I don't know. Want to give a shout out to all the new subscribers and all the new followers throughout YouTube, Facebook. We really appreciate it. If you're just joining us, there's a QR code up in the left to help Gina and Mike with some things going on right now. Gina really severely broke her leg. That's why Gina's not even hanging with us tonight. You can see her in the chat, but she's not hanging with us tonight just because of so much pain. And right now, with still things are things are tough. Still, the economy's. Some things are getting better. Some things are not getting better. And it costs money. Basically what it comes down to is people need money. And when there's no money, there's no nothing. Even the convenience store across from me over in West Pittston was, for a long time, $2.99 a gallon. $2.99 a gallon. It was like one of the few that were under $3. And it's now that's up to like $3.05. So even they bopped their prices up a little bit.
That could be because of summer too.
Yeah, it probably is, but it's just like right now it's they were kind of $2.99, like here we're gonna give you $2.99. Now it's back to $3. I mean, it's a couple cents. I get it, but it's like it looks better when it says $2.99 than $3.05. I see today there's a lot of at least in West Pittston there's a lot of either the grad parties or they're probably grad parties, because literally now on my street you can park across the street, but you can't park in front of my house. like directly in front. Today, there's a line of cars up both sides, and it's like something's gonna get hit, and my luck it's gonna be me, probably. Yeah, I walk outside. I'm like, where'd all the freaking cars? And I'm like, I'm like, do you know where all these cars? He's like, do you know where all these cars are from? Graduation party down the street. I was like, okay. Now, literally, like two cars can get up and down my street normally. Not at the moment. I'm waiting to hear a bang or a crash or something.
Yeah, when cars hit, um, I've heard it more than one time. One time I can think of, but I know it's been more than once. Uh, Main Street. I live on Main Street in the city, so things can get pretty busy down this way. I mean, yeah, when two cars collide, it is loud.
And I
It's
felt bad.
louder than you think it would be.
Oh, I know. I felt bad. I saw this little guy, this old guy, like cruising up on his mobile. He had like one of those jazzy wheelchair type things, and like he's trying to get out, and there's cars. Only one car now can come up and down the street. So the poor guy felt bad. So I literally just stopped in the middle of the road and like, here, you could let you cross. And yeah, I was like, damn. What I'm gonna do is just gotta cue it up here.
I'm watching this German guy right now. He like restores stuff.
Okay.
I love like when they take like old, like right now he's doing like old toys and table games and like completely restoring them to like new condition. Right now he's doing this like soccer thing. But I love stuff like this.
Oh, I saw something on Facebook where a guy found an old Optimus Prime toy, and it was just beat to hell. I mean,
Yeah,
whoever
played with.
it played, yeah, it was beat, and he took it apart, pulled it. He did like that. I don't know what you call it, but like the fast motion, I guess. Oh, that's what you call it. But like showed how he like ripped it all apart, cleaned all the little pieces, put it back together. It looked like a brand new damn toy. I mean,
and I watch that kind of stuff a lot. I love it.
I like when they find like an old like Super Nintendo or a Sega, and they basically they put it back to like brand new again. That's cool watching stuff like that too. All right, here's what I'm gonna do. It's only about 6 minutes. I'm going to show you my Kia saga today. I'm gonna mute myself while I share it.
And I'll be stuck in an echo chamber.
That's why I'm gonna mute my mic so it won't do it.
Won't do it as badly.
All right, everyone. Shit. Hold on.
Okay.
Take 2. All right. Guys, it's a great day to be alive. It is Saturday morning. Welcome to the backyard. All right, we're going to start our day. Hope I might have knocked down my tripod. We're going to start the day with some exercising, okay? Now, I know I can't do a lot right now, but let's do a little shadow boxing. Boom, 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 like Rocky Balboa. All right. Okay. We'll start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Good job, guys, if you're joining with me. Arm rolls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good job, everybody. We're going to take it back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whew. Yeah, still not in shape because that just doing those couple things has me burnt out, has me already tired. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It's working. Apricot. I haven't seen you in a while.
9, and 10. All right, good job, guys. Hi, I'm Molly. All right, now I'm gonna add another step. But right now I'm just a little too tired. I'm burnt out. Whew. Okay, so maybe we'll walk him. One. 2. Yeah, I'm wiped out. But we're gonna add the steps in our next step, in our next tomorrow. All right. Okay, it's a little bit overcast here in West Pittston / Exeter. Now I'm cleaning out the car because I got something special to show you in a little while. Guys, I'm at Performance Key Music. I'm gonna see about possibly trading in my 24 Ford Tape for a 25K Ford. Give me a call and see what we can do. Now, will I be taking them home today? I don't know yet. Definitely find out though.
I was actually thinking about that song. That song the other
guys,
day.
they replaced the Fortes. We're gonna see. All right, so they said this one would work within where I want to be, and I like it. For 2025. Okay, guys, here's an update. Because the car's only like a year and a half old, I might be upside down, so I might not be able to get the car today. But I'm not being disappointed. I'm going to run my Ford Tape, just see what can happen. But let me just tell you, the guys here are really great. They're trying. They're trying. Alright, guys, here's what we're going to try and get me in. Okay, guys, well, I couldn't get the car. There's just numbers weren't close enough, and my credit's not that, not good enough to float it. But hey, we tried. But still, doing some great deals up here at Performance Kia. Check them out. Till next time, see you later.
So that was kind of a letdown.
Yeah, I couldn't get it. I was hoping. I'm upside down, but it was an experience. It was cool to drive, let me tell you. But yeah, but got my exercises in. Yep, and twerking apricot. Yep, it's been a while. Thanks for hanging back out with us. We missed you. Yeah, Gina broke her leg. I'm starting to do morning exercises, kind of get a little bit more healthier. But yeah, it's been interesting. How have you been?
I'd say that this or that changed in my life, but nothing really did. I'm like totally unchanging. And John Cougar Mellencamp, whatever. He's just evil. He was
Why?
evil back then, huh?
Why do you say that?
Oh, I don't know. Cutting shows, like he's only like a song or two in, and then make all like an entire crowd of people waste their money. Look that up on YouTube, guys, if you don't believe me. Because he starts in with the political message. The whole, well, don't vote for Trump, and something like that. And he starts putting all these political messages into, I wrote this song, I wasn't necessarily thinking about this, but right now you really should be. And it's like, it's somebody in the audience said, shut up and sing,
Oh, jeez.
which is kind of where I would be. You're an entertainer. Entertain. I don't care where you are politically. I'd really rather not know whether I agree with you or don't. I'd rather not know. You're an entertainer. Do your thing. So then he gets up and strums a chord and says, "Little ditty about Jack and Diane," and then he's like, "I'm out. Good night, everybody." And it's like, are you serious?
Oh,
Like I said, I mean, because one guy yelled at him, "Shut up and sing," which I think probably the majority of the room was thinking the same thing.
probably. I mean, I understand, entertainers are people too, and they have their political views, but don't put them in and don't involve them with if you're a singer, sing, do your thing.
Well,
Yeah.
De Niro for his antics ended up losing, I think it was like $8 million or $12 million because he had two studios pull contracts with him. Because it's like act. You're an actor.
I mean, I like De Niro as an actor. Yeah, he kind of when he did that, he kind of almost committed suicide, basically, career suicide.
Yeah, and it's like he's in his 80s. He probably doesn't care anymore. I'm sure he doesn't.
He probably made us money. Yeah, probably. But next week starts. We're coming into the month of July, which means fireworks, which means the 4th. And in the beginning of the show, not only was July 4th Independence Day and things like that, for local historians, that was around the time when the Battle of Wyoming happened. If anybody follows history, our troops got slaughtered by the Indians. They were marching from 44th up to Exeter, and they got ambushed, basically, literally taken out.
Really, not our troops. More like British troops.
I thought they were ours, or part ours, or they're.
Well, that all happened pre-revolution, if I'm not mistaken.
I can't. Me and my brother and I were talking about it earlier today, and I can't remember the year. but I know if you go up to that cemetery now that sits in Wyoming, and me and False has been there a couple times, it's
That's where the monument is,
yeah.
right?
And the cemetery's up from the monument. The monument's
Okay.
down more towards the Midway Shopping Center.
Okay.
The cemetery's up into like Wyoming itself, like into the town, I guess, or like where the houses are, more like near the houses, the city. And it doesn't look big from the outside, but when you go into this thing is huge, and it has a American flag that flies in the middle, and they have a cannon sitting in the middle of this cemetery. I know me and Foss were up there a couple times and we got everything on video, but it was like, wow. Some of the stones are so old you can't even read them anymore. Like, that's how old they are.
Okay. It would have to be pre-revolution because, like, okay, Wilkes-Barre started off as a Connecticut settlement. In fact, I pass the monument every day. It's right by the Hollenbach Cemetery on River Street. Right up by General Hospital, there's a monument, commemorating the Connecticut settlement. And, like, this is before Pennsylvania was founded as a state, I think, if I remember correctly. Or maybe not. No, maybe not. I don't know. Connecticut, I mean, definitely the borders of Pennsylvania hadn't been established yet.
1778.
Okay, then it is post-revolution.
1778.
All right, so yeah, that's definitely post-revolution. All right, I'm wrong.
And what's nice about also that day is, I mean, we always get the 4th of July off from work, but now because it's Friday, get a long weekend. Yes. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to a long weekend, and like I said, I love watching fireworks. But Miss Molly Dolly down here, it just like it's not worth it. She gets so scared, so like. But
oh God, living on North Main Street. I mean, especially during the pandemic, people just, I think they took all their COVID money and spent it on fireworks. It's all you would hear day and night. I had to call the cops once because some idiot across the street in the apartment complex, who's no longer living there, was firing them off in the YVAT's parking lot. Well, the debris coming down was hitting my roof.
Oh shit!
And I'm like, I remember. I know I tend to cite a lot of Pennsylvania castle doctrine laws. But I remember saying to the woman on the when I called 911, I'm like, okay, let me put it to you like this. As far as I'm concerned, this guy is trying to set my house on fire. You do understand that in Pennsylvania, under castle doctrine, if somebody is trying to burn you out of your house, you have the right to shoot them.
Oh, geez, I did not know that either.
Yeah, if somebody's actually trying to set fire to your house while you're in it, you could shoot them.
Oh.
Yeah, actually, if we chose to, if we wanted to watch the firework display at Kirby Park, we could literally more than likely see it. We have an upper deck because at one time the 3rd floor of this building was a standalone apartment, and so there's actually a deck up there. And if we could actually sit out on that deck because we have a beautiful view of the courthouse.
I was gonna say you should have like nice boom.
Yeah, I mean, but as Gina's saying, that she's not really much for fireworks.
Yeah, I love to watch it, but every time you hear a bang, she either wants to jump through something in it, like she. It's not that she gets like scared chicken. She gets like she starts barking like she wants to tear someone's ass apart. Like, and like it's just something where Goldie, when she got older, it's like she couldn't care less. She just, oh yeah, okay. She'd hear a big boom and put her head up like, okay, yeah, I'm going back to bed. But yeah, Molly, it's forget it.
Well, like I said, with all the the fireworks, I mean, it's now there's a city ordinance you're not allowed to fire them off. A lot of people don't pay attention to it though.
I was going to say, how many people actually pay attention to that ordinance?
It's not as let's put it this way, it isn't anywhere nearly as bad as it used to be. Like during COVID, it got ridiculous, but that was also too. That's when they first legalized fireworks in Pennsylvania. I mean,
yeah, I remember. Like, well, even last year, around what False did last year, and I think he has it up on his channel. I can't remember. He switched so much shit. He had his drone. He put his drone up that night and caught all the fireworks around, like actually from Kirby Park. He was able to catch it with the drone, and some of that's just from looking. It's looked like it was a good display, which I'm sure they'll have a good display this year too. At least they don't have to worry about getting up for work the next day.
Yeah, really. I went in years past, with friends and everything. We'd walk down to Kirby Park and,
all right,
hang out and like watch. It was for being a teenager. There's something fun and interesting to do. Right. Now I could
hold that thought, Mike. Mother Nature's calling. I got to be right back.
Okay. I'm on my own again. It's the Mike Show with me. I'm Mike. It's the Mike Show, and I got lots of good guests. And who do I have? I have the twerking apricot. Okay. Oh yeah, Gina. It would like I said, that guy was. Yeah, I know you remember what I'm talking about. The guy across the street firing them off, and they're hitting off the ceiling or the roof of the house. And yeah, that dude. Oh my God. He made a lot of interesting videos for the channel, though. I will say that. Your chat's slow. Are you on? You're on YouTube, aren't you? Yeah, I basically, I mean, I do this on my phone. I used to do this on the computer, but it's just more comfortable for me to sit on the couch.
Ta-da!
Oh, there he is.
What did I miss?
I don't know, Gina. Who was setting off fireworks in the alley? I don't remember that.
Years and years ago, my dad and my neighbor almost burnt the neighbor's houses down. Not intentionally. The way that's the last year my dad ever bought like actual like rockets. My neighbor had in his yard had his pipe on a slant so it would shoot over my way, and we had ours shooting up over this way. It's almost to make like an X. Well, as the night went on, the pipes, sank in the yard. And my dad lit one and blew it and went right on the neighbor's house. So he quick jumped in the car, drove around, make sure he didn't burn the guy's house down. And then like right after he did that, my neighbor lit one else on another house. So that was kind of the end of that of shooting off. Not bottle rock, but like what the big rockets like you see at the shows, that you see at the displays.
Okay.
I forget what they're called. That's the last time my dad and my neighbor shot those off, and for almost burning down some people's houses.
Yeah, there's. Sorry, I was getting echo coming back at me. Oh, okay. The guys from the
Is someone shooting at fireworks near your house already? Or was it?
no, no,
Oh, this was
she's
way
talking
back.
about years. She's talking about years ago. See, like Gina, when you say in the alley, to me, you mean, the space between Sosa's place and this place.
There he is.
Hey, what's up, John?
There's John. Oh, we love the ghetto theater.
It has its moments.
And like I said, till the day I die, 2 a.m. I want to cash in my lottery tickets. No, slam. That to me, that never gets old. It's we got 12 watching us right now. Thank you, all you 12. Thank you, appreciate it. I think they're coming through the YouTube channels because I think mine is at.
Oh, you're the guy with the stats, so.
Yeah, I'm refreshing my. I got 7 watching on me right at this point. Let's see. Let's see where your channel's at. Yeah, I'm the guy with the stats. How did I get no?
God, watching these things makes me want to go out and buy a sandblaster.
We right now we got 2 coming in from the Ghetto Theater of Wilkes-Barre. Freaky Tweaker. I don't want to ask. Well, yeah, I do.
Oh, we have kitty videos up.
Oh, it's
There's a whole
YouTube
section of it.
of what?
Cat videos. There,
Oh,
I believe I called it Gina Marie City Kitties.
I'm watching. It's how when you click on YouTube, it'll say for you. And I'll have videos like I guess that you'd be interested in. Well,
Right.
mine says here. This is the Freaky Tweaker from about a year ago.
Oh, okay. I know who that is. All right. Yeah, that's the one. Like she left her purse actually sitting on my stoop, and I'm like standing there. You forgot something. Yeah, she was, I don't know, seeing chemical fairies on the neighbor's porch or something. I don't know what that was about.
It's yeah. So guys,
They were good.
check out the Ghetto Theater of Wilkes-Barre channel if you want to catch some very interesting video clips. Like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. And we'll put it in the chat for those.
More videos coming eventually. I have stuff. I just, thank you.
Yeah, we all do twerk. We all do. Like I said, it's also don't forget about Fred's Sick Myth channel. Yeah, Fred and his wife, Mrs. Crewman, went to a wedding and they're partied out. So, but you
Well,
might
he had said in weeks past that
a
he
couple
said
Saturdays not going to be here.
yeah, that there was going to be like at least 2 Saturdays where he had other things that going on.
But yeah, so I want to give a shout out to Fred and Steph if they're watching. Might be watching, or it could be passed out by now. But yeah, we really appreciate all the likes, subscribers. What is that?
What?
I'm going to see what you're trying to do.
Putting juice into my vape.
Ah,
And I had to kind of like hold it up to light to do that.
I'll see what about the twerking apricot? What about the woman from a few weeks ago that was her name? Was her name Diamond?
Yep, Diamond. That actually ended up. My video ended up on all the news channels except Fox 56. Yeah, I have that video. I also have video of a guy, drunk guy, getting arrested in front of my place.
Good night, Susan.
So
I hope you have a good night, and hope you and
good.
Bob feel better. Yep.
Yeah.
I
No, her last name was Diamond. Gina. Sorry.
Oh. Yeah, I hope Susan, you and Bob have a good night.
I knew that was your video. Yeah, that was mine.
So who's going to Kirby Park to see the fireworks if you live near us?
If it doesn't rain.
If it doesn't rain. I kind of like I said, I kind of hope it pours just because Molly goes nuts. I haven't seen Venger 6 yet. He sometimes chimes in. I got a text from him. I was talking to him before. He's doing. I guess he's doing okay. I guess. I think. Marcus usually. Yeah, I haven't seen Marcus either. Marcus usually catches the replays because of his work schedule. So yeah, it's just been one of those weeks. And he was on the porch when she's.
Yeah, I was actually. I witnessed it firsthand. I wasn't watching it on camera.
Honestly, I don't like. I've never saw someone. I mean, on TV, I see in movies and shit, but I've never actually like in real time saw anyone ever get shot, and I don't know how to even react to that one.
Honestly, I don't. I don't. My. It's the kind of thing like where. How much is my mind filling in, and how much is my mind blocking out, and like I can't really say for sure. I would, if I were to be a witness in court for it, I would be a horrible witness. The way I remember it, I didn't actually see her get hit with bullets.
Oh, okay.
Her roommate, who I've said before and I'll say again, is an incredibly nice person. He's a really good guy. He was across the street watching the whole thing unfold because he was the one who called 911. He was trying to talk her down. And I was talking with different people, people, ex-military people, and she's ex-military. She's a vet. And when you get into your fight or flight and you get locked into, okay, I'm going to fight, and the adrenaline's moving, and that's kind of, I guess, where she was. Because she has from what I understand, combat related PTSD, like horribly, and she went off her meds, which is what caused all that. But the guy was across the street, and he began screaming, "Oh my God! Oh my God!" And when he started yelling, like instinctively, I looked away from her and I looked over to him. And when I was looking over at him, that's when police the cop opened fire. Now he didn't have a choice. She was armed. She was ready to charge with 2 knives. Anybody who ever took any kind of self-defense or any kind of course like that in their life, whether it's usually firearms training, because that's always an issue. Like the perpetrator, the actor, whatever, um, brought a knife to a gunfight and didn't know it. Knives are just as deadly as guns, if not more so. And you can close the distance. Somebody with a knife who's 20 feet away from you can close that distance in a second and a half or less. And that's the time you have, if you're armed with a gun, that's the time you have to draw your weapon, aim your weapon, fire your weapon. Unless it's drawn already. But the cop was already drawn. I mean, he literally had, she's ex-military. She's not in like horrible shape or anything.
Right.
She could close that distance in a second. And she wasn't 20 feet away. She was more like 15 or 10. So that cop had no choice. That was either, she was going to, she was obviously, in my mind, from how I saw things unfold, she was trying to commit suicide. She first jumped in front of a car when the guy literally stopped that car on a dime to avoid hitting her. I don't know if I could stop a car that fast. Oh my God, that was like, when you see that, it's like, holy God. He slammed those brakes down hard and stopped that car. And it's, somebody was watching out for her, because the car, for the speed, he was going probably like maybe around 30, 35.
So
the
average.
The way she jumped out in front of him, he should not have been able to stop that way. That was almost superhuman. And then, like I said, for her to, I forget if she charged or if she was, she hunkered down like she was going to charge. But either way, any cop is going to know that she can close that distance in a second. Yeah, and you have that long to react. His weapon was drawn because she was armed. He was completely, as far as I'm concerned, he was completely in the right with what he did. No, they did not mention. I don't believe they mentioned that in the news that she was a vet. This is like, and this is the, I take great exception. I think the news outlet that reported it the best had to be Fox 56 at News at 10, because they just stuck to the facts. They didn't embellish. They didn't, for the most part, NEP did all right. They went with what they knew and didn't embellish. Andy Mahalchik, I'm sorry, Andy Mahalchik is, I don't even know what he is. I don't know. I don't want to get into public, because I know people who actually know him. Okay. He got things wrong, very wrong. He was embellishing. He was trying to be a know-it-all and knew very little. So, 28, 22, whatever they're calling themselves these days, to me, they're still PA homepage. Got everything very wrong. They even credited the thing. They credited everything to Gina. She is the one who signed the release, though, so I kind of can't blame them there.
Wow.
But yeah, like I said, I got it from somebody in Crime Watch actually knows her and her family very well. So I got a lot of the backstory from there. And yeah, she has severe PTSD. She is a combat veteran, and her mother had just died. And she went off her meds for a couple of weeks.
And that probably pushed her.
Yep. Absolutely. I don't think the woman deserves to be in jail. I think she needs help. I don't think she's going to get any kind of help in prison. I'm not one of these, bleeding heart Democrats who think that nobody should go to jail. There are plenty of other people out there well more deserving to go to prison than this woman. She's had a rough time and she snapped, and it happens to people. And luckily, cops don't shoot to wound. They fire when they fire a weapon at you. They are trying to hit center mass. And from what I understand, they hit her 3 times center mass. So fortunately for her, she survived 3 gunshots.
Wow.
Yeah, cops don't shoot people in the leg. They never do that. They never shoot you in the arm. They're not going to sit there and shoot the knives out of your hands.
They're going to shoot you. They're shooting to take you out.
What they're shooting is the part of your body that moves the least. If you're moving, your center mass is moving the least. Your arms and legs are moving the most. Your head is, close second. But center mass stays fairly still, and it's also the largest target on a person. That's why they shoot center mass. It's not to kill. It's just, okay, it so happens that, all your major organs are there too.
Hey, Molly. Twerk just brought up a good question. Why didn't they try and use a taser first? A taser instead of...
They weren't tasers. You have to set up for. They weren't set up. They did use tasers afterwards. They hit her 3 times because she would not drop that knife.
Speaking of jails and stuff, I got a call the other day, which I don't know if it's going to happen or not. A bride-to-be asked me if I could do her wedding. Like, sure, no problem. What's going on? Here, the fiance's in jail. So, for me to do this wedding, I gotta get cleared through. I called the jail. They're running, like, I have to get a clearance and background check and everything like that, which is fine. I was cleared a while, like years ago. I was cleared to do a wedding at the jail, so I don't see any difference. I mean, anything changed. But it's like, how that's going to be interesting trying to pull off a wedding in a jail if it happens.
Well, they generally have like a kind of thing like set aside for, like, you can't really call it a stage, but I mean they.
Well, years ago I got checked because, well, actually me and False, because False ended up doing the wedding at the jail, and I think that's why he that was his last wedding. So I think that's why he gave up doing weddings. It was just, we knew it was going to be a complete disaster to begin with. I mean, come on, it's a jail. Like, so from what he told me back then, which I'm gonna supposedly think it's gonna be the same now.
Are you talking about LCC first of all?
No, the Luzerne County Jail.
Yeah, LCC, Luzerne County Correctional.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And,
the 2 C's, not the 3. The 3 C's is the college.
I was like, wait a minute, yeah.
Luzerne County Community College is LCCC, and LCC is Luzerne County Correctional.
And so when False went to do this wedding, it was set up. You're in a room. There's a guard there, and I'm sure other people there too. They could not touch each other, so
no consummation.
So he would have to give him the ring and her the ring, and that kind of thing. And they couldn't kiss each other. Like, they could not touch each other, and you could not take any type of paper material into that with you. So I could do a wedding off the top of my head, a ceremony, where back then False couldn't, and that just really like threw his game plan right off because he couldn't take nothing in. He needs to read it. But that was the last time we got asked to do a wedding in a jail until now. So I called up the lady at the jail. and gave her all my information. Yeah, okay, do the background check. I have nothing going on. So I said to her, I said, well, here's the thing. I said, I work a full-time job, so my availability is either after 5 or on weekends. Now, if that's going to be a problem, she'll have to find another person, but that's when I can do it. And so I'm still waiting. I haven't heard back from her yet, but that'll be interesting. I know you can't take any pictures or anything, but if I do end up doing the jail wedding, I will let you all know. Mike, I know you guys don't talk politics, however, I think you should try it, not every week.
You missed us last week, John.
Yeah, you missed us last week, John.
There's a reason why I'm mega MAGA Mikey today, because somebody, why'd you replace FP with MAGA Mike over here?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was, I don't know. I mean, we slid into it.
Kind of.
I'll say this. I'm not in a cult. I voted for Trump 3 times. Basically because to me, in my mind, he was the better choice each time.
Yeah, that's
I'm a registered independent voter. I don't do Democrat. I don't do Republican. I won't pick a side in the Coke Pepsi thing. But I tend to lean conservative. So I tend to lean. I'm not even going to say conservative. I'm going to say I tend to lean towards common sense. Let's put it this way. My favorite Democrat right now, which I voted against him, and I'm actually sorry I did, is Fetterman. John Fetterman to me is he's really good. Like as far as what he's supposed to be in the Senate doing, representing my interests. Yeah, I feel he does. And I mean, Oz ended up, he's got a position, in the administration now in the Department of Health, I think.
I like the fact that Fetterman, like you see every other one, dressed up, suit, tie, like he walked in like he did his own thing, and that's what I like about him.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I still don't. I'm glad they make him wear a suit when he goes.
They make him. I haven't followed him lately, so I haven't followed him in a while. They make him wear a suit now, or at least
there's. I'm sorry, there's decorum. If you're going to be a senator and you're going to go into the Senate and vote, you should be presentable. You shouldn't. You shouldn't be there in shorts and a hoodie. That's. I'm sorry.
I could. Yeah, I agree with you there.
That's just respect for the office. That's respect for okay, if you want to casually go to work, in your own office, wearing shorts and a hoodie, more power to you. But if you're actually going to go out on the Senate floor and when they're having a vote, show decorum, follow the rules. They're there for a reason. Yes, you did, John. I remember. John, if anybody isn't aware, John is a former city councilman for Wilkes-Barre, District E, which District E is where I live in North End, and District E is part of John's old district. But yeah, I remember, John. I remember you always had a tie on. If it were me in that room, I would probably. I'm sure I would do the same. I would have respect for you respect
for the office, for the chair, for the
exactly. You respect the office. You don't. I mean, if you look at things like back in the '60s, look at like a. Remember those in Mr. Elias's class, Jay, when he would pass around the old magazines for us to read, like the old Newsweeks and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, remember those ads? People were on an airplane, like guys were on an airplane wearing suits. A man wore a suit everywhere. If you look at Pawn Stars is a good example. The old man, He always had on a suit and a fedora because that's his generation. That's who they were. A man didn't leave the house unless he was going to the gym or he was going to
or if he worked like in the mines, or if he worked in something
yeah, if you
where like if you were working like as a trade, like a mechanic or something,
I'll tell you what, even then, my grandfather, I have a picture of him coming home from a day in the mines. He was wearing a suit. It was an old suit, but he had the vest on. He had a suit jacket. He had suit pants. He was wearing boots, but he was still no necktie. But he was still wearing a suit.
I heard. I've never. I don't know if I ever saw pictures of it. I'm sure I did at one point, but like I remember my grandmother telling me stories. My grandfather would come home from the mine. He worked in the mines. Right down into the shop, basically right down to the basement. Took a shower, cleaned up, then came upstairs, and was able to walk through the rest of the house. She told me like you'd have to sometimes take 2 showers. That was just so much soot and coal and you name it.
Well, my grandmother kept a lot of rubbing alcohol handy because a lot of times my grandfather would come home bloody. If they had a minor cave in or something like that. He was the guy laying the timbers. So a lot of times, after they dug things out, there would still be a lot of loose stuff that would fall on him. And he more often than not he'd come home bloody.
And that makes me think like back then, even they put little kids in the mines had to go through that and deal with that. Like that was your daily thing. Like people today, hell, I don't even know if I'd make it in the mines. Probably not. But it's
my grandfather was a rare man. I mean, especially in today's society, he would definitely be a rare man. He had his stepfather. His father was killed in a mine collapse while he was in utero. His stepfather proposed to his mother while he was in utero, and it was just like, hey, he had 3 siblings. He's like, you got 3 kids, you got one on the way. I don't have a wife. I'm a good man. You're a good woman. I'll take care of your family. And they got married. Well, that man's name was Nicodemus. And Nicodemus, I believe, if I remember correctly, was also killed in a mine collapse. After that, my great grandmother was out of options, and my grandfather and his brother had to go to work. My grandfather had to quit school and go to work in a cracker factory, and he was 6 years old at the time.
What would a 6-year-old do? I mean, you just thinking like, hey, here's a 6-year-old kid, put him to work. Where the hell would you even put him to work? Like,
I don't know, carrying box. I don't know what he did in the cracker. I never asked him what he did in the cracker factory. He wasn't there all that long. He ended up, if I remember right, he ended up in one of the breakers. He was one of the fabulous breaker boys, I believe. He ended up in a coal breaker, picking coal. Because that's what they did with the kids. You separated the coal from the shale, and you separated, you had this whole line of, on a conveyor. And of course, blue coal would paint all their coal blue.
But it's like you'd think like a 6-year-old kid they would never like. But even just think about this kid gets thrown to work because now he has to, because his dad is dead and he has to make money, like to take care of the family. I mean, but I also give him credit, and all those kids that put kudos back then, because How many kids today do you think would make it? And I'm not even saying, but like teenagers, if they opened the mines and said, "Oh, you're working in the mines now," how many people would actually be able to hack it?
Not many.
No, I wouldn't.
Especially not in those conditions, because my grandfather, he had from decades of working in the mines. He ended up with black lung. Uh, he got he got a monthly settlement for it, but I mean the fact that he had a horrible emphysema where we lived at the end of the 100 block in Wilkes-Barre, and we lived at 111. He would make it to about 104 or 105 and have to stop and lean on a fence post to rest because he was out of breath. The man could barely breathe. I mean, they didn't have respirators or anything like that back then.
No, you just went down and you did what you did.
You had a helmet with a light on it, and you had a pickaxe. That was about it.
My grandfather, my pop, my mom's side was the miner, and he had black lung. And back then, like my grandma, when he passed, like she got his social security check plus the black lung. So back then, she actually she got a good settlement, like for what it was back then. A lot of the other most of it didn't. Some did.
Same with my grandmother. She, after my grandfather passed, she ended up. Yeah, she got his black lung.
And back then, that was a lot of money. That was good money. Like that.
Oh yeah.
Again.
Oh yeah. Like I said, though, I mean, with the emphysema, it's a hell of a trade-off.
And say God bless, my grandma. She was able to do it. When my dad got sick and he didn't work for a year. Like my grandmother, basically covered our mortgage for like a year because she had enough money to do it with this black lung. But it's like, wow. I give those the people of the past that worked in the mines. I give them so much, kudos.
Well, it's not only World War II why they call them the greatest generation. I mean those people. I mean they were a completely different breed from what humanity in this country is today. They're different. They're a breed apart from me. I'll tell you that. And I've done some hard work in my life. I've worked in a lot of the factories around here, and I wasn't always an office worker. I basically, I just figured out a way to get out of the factory life and into a nice air conditioned office. But yeah, they were those people were they were a breed apart from what
we have
today. And I mean, as far as the generations coming up now, people like us, Gen X, and people in their 50s and everything, we're definitely a breed apart from them. I can't imagine people who are not my age, people who are the age where I could be their father or grandfather, because I don't have children. So,
yeah, I mean,
I can't see them going through what I went through, and as far as factory work and getting to be the best guy in your department to the point where they give you an department to run it, you're the foreman now. I used to always say to my guys, it's you know what, any questions you have, I know how to run every machine in this department. I know everything that needs to be done. I could actually do all this myself. You're just here to help me.
Twerky and Apricot just put up a good statement. My grandparents were in the sewing mills, and my great grandfathers were miners. Like my grandfather was in the miners in Lehigh Valley. Past Strasburg, I don't think one of them was able to graduate. No, my grandfather never graduated.
Mine either.
Because he had to go to work in the mines.
My grandmother, she was a farmer's daughter, and she didn't even know how to read. She couldn't read English. Actually, she couldn't read Lithuanian either.
Thanks for sharing that, Torque. Appreciate
it. My father's father actually worked at the Steg.
At the where?
The Stegmeyer Brewery, like the old one, the real one.
The one that's over near
on the boulevard.
Right.
Yeah, he worked in, I believe he worked in the bottling house. And that's what he did his whole life. Which, he walked to work every day from Center Street in Wilkes-Barre Township, Georgetown.
To the Ave, literally.
Yeah, he walked down North. He walked up and down Northampton Street every single day to go back and forth to work.
And he did it.
And if you look at
shit on that. Like,
if you look at, he was trying to catch a ride with a free ride on a rail car the one time, and he was actually shot by a railroad cop. It was it made the papers. He said he didn't have the money to go to a hospital. They pulled the bullet out at home.
Oh wow.
That's in his younger days. He was trying to. I forget. The trains used to run through Georgetown. There's still tracks between Georgetown and Laurel Run. There's a set of tracks there. That's how they would my grandmother's family. That's how they would heat their home. Those are coal cars that would run through there a lot, and a lot of coal would fall off the cars. So Georgetown they'd send the kids out
to run and get the coal.
To go out and collect coal in buckets to save on heating. Well, to my grandparents, if they ever thought I wasn't listening to all the old stories, I'm kind of proving it today that I was. So,
thank you to your grandparents for telling the stories.
Oh yeah. I don't actually twerking apricot. I don't have a diploma. I was thrown out of school at 16, and I went back when I was 20. I got a GED. I got sick and tired of hearing or having employers tell me, well, no diploma, no job. That got old after a while. I literally walked in off the street, found out I found out from the unemployment office when they were holding tests, when they were going to have a test. It's now a storage facility. There was a place called the Dan Flood Center on Blackwood Street. And I went there, literally walked in off the street cold, and took the test. They said I didn't score high enough in math. I walked off the street and took the GED test. They told me I didn't score high enough in math, but everything else was really good. They wanted me to come back for 2 weeks just to study math, and I'm like, nah, I can do it on my own. So I took the 2 weeks. I basically taught myself algebra enough to pass the test with. And I went back and I got one of the highest at the time when I was 20 years old. So that's going back 32 years. I got like one of the highest scores ever in the state of Pennsylvania for the GED exam. And I felt bad actually because they months later, there were these people. I mean, they had a school facility set up for remedial people like me who didn't have a diploma to study and get it. And the ceremony, they had a ceremony at Myers in their gymnasium in the evening. It's what people would commonly, in the 70s, you'd call it night school. And they actually had a graduation ceremony. I got called to the stage at least 5 times because there were 5 different subjects like social studies, science, literature, English,
math,
not math. I barely passed math. But the other my other scores in other subjects, I either had one wrong or it was a perfect score. And like I said, the guy handing me like the award told me, he's like, just don't go too far, just stay right there. Because I felt bad because like there's this gymnasium filled with people and their families who these people worked hard. They went to they kept it together, like working in a job and going to school at night and studying and working hard. And to me, it's like I took 2 weeks and taught myself how to do algebra. And I just literally felt bad. It's like they worked hard. They should get this. This was no serious effort for me. I don't deserve this. In fact, I even think I said that into the microphone when they asked me to say something. I said, I don't deserve this. You guys do.
Wow. That is. Thank you for sharing it with us.
Yeah.
It's work. Thank you for sharing your story with us too. I appreciate that. It's like
you were one of the people, Jay. You when you worked at Burger King. I remember walking in not long after I'd quit school. I believe I was working in one of the aforementioned factories.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you saying to me, like, "Well, you quit school. What are you going to do now? You're not going to make anything out of your life."
Did I say that?
You, like something like that, something along those lines.
I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember. I'm sorry. I don't.
No,
I don't remember. I don't remember.
It was coming from a good place, Jay. It wasn't coming from a bad place.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I have no recollection. I cannot remember. Oh, someone did click on the QR code. Thank you.
When I was younger and I wasn't, I wasn't taking all this diabetic medication and gabapentin and all this other stuff that causes short-term memory loss. I used to always say, like, right here, man, penny of 10, anything it sees, hears, or my memory was like practically, I think it was, you could probably call it photographic because I could shut my eyes and see like pages of books or, that's how good the memory was. And unfortunately, you lose it. I could sit here, I could probably quote some Shakespeare or, quote a lot of other things I've read in my life, but it's nowhere near at 52. It's not what it was at 22.
Yeah, tell me about it. It's but not to switch tracks for a minute, but I might have a special guest within the next couple of weeks. A guest come on with us. She's starting to like paint glasses, like glassware, like do design on glassware. And I'm thinking about bringing her on when she gets up some inventory.
Excuse me.
So look forward to some Harvest glassware. We're gonna do at one point. And yeah, I remember seeing Marcus or Matt. I know Joey T was in the house. Oh, if you're still listening, I caught on Facebook. Well, I knew this was going to happen because I was talking to her. But Tammy's Kitchen officially, I guess, got the keys to Chuck's Diner in Luzerne. So as of August, she told me they're shooting for August 1st. Tammy's Kitchen will now be in Luzerne in the old Chuck's Diner. So I hope they do good. Can't wait to check them out. But other than that, yeah, I haven't really been doing food review, going anywhere because I got videos waiting to roll up until like till the end of January. So I'm kind of more focusing on doing some exercise videos and that kind of thing. But I haven't been to a really food place. So I went to the Long John Silver's /A&W up in Dixon City today. and the Papa Burger was really good. They had the waffle fries, which I thought was awesome. And but I say I want to go with. I hope they were just short staffed because the dining room was like a mess. Dirty tables. Their drink area, like all the napkins were gone. They were out of ketchup. So I'm just hoping they were short staffed and not how it normally is. But the burger kicked ass. It had a special sauce which I didn't ask the sauce, but it was called the Papa Burger, something like that. Let me see. I want to give a shout out to Julie Conroy. She just clicked on one of my photos. So how you doing, Julie? Oh yeah, Joey, closer to me too. I'm in, like I said, I'm in West Pittston. Saudis are going from West Pittston, Luzerne, then West Pittston down to. Not that it's going down to Edwardsville or Larksville. Yep, I was there. I was at the Viewmont Diner. Year or two ago, maybe it's been now. Can't remember, but I was there.
Sorry, I had to cut and run like that. It was an emergency.
Gots to go. You gots to go.
Yeah, I wanted to call attention to this.
Hi, Judy. Thank you.
I haven't normally. I love collecting toys.
Okay.
Because I just do that, but money's been really scarce for quite a while now. But I still kind of do when I go grocery shopping because every store except Shields, but Wegmans, Wise, they always have a Hot Wheels display. They always have a Hot Wheels bucket where there's a bunch of Hot Wheels cars and that I can afford. They're like a buck and a quarter. So I'm still collecting toys, but just really inexpensive ones now. And I just came across this yesterday while picking up a prescription at Wegmans. Now, how cool is this?
Wait, is that?
It's Optimus Prime.
Okay.
As a Matchbox car.
Nice.
See, it even says there. You see it, Transformers.
Yep, authentic.
But it's Hot Wheels. But the thing is, Hot Wheels is Mattel, and Transformers, of course, is Hasbro.
Right.
So you had to get two toy companies together to do this. And to me, that's amazing because normally, they're fiercely competitive and everything.
Does it say when that was? Is there a date on that by any chance?
Oh yeah. Oh no. It says right here, new for 2025.
Oh wow. So this was just recent then.
Yeah, this is this year.
Wow.
So Optimus here is number 6 of 10. So that means I got all the Batmobiles. They put out 5 different Batmobiles from 5 different Batman franchise movies, and so now I got something else I have to. Like I said, they're like $1.25. They're like $1. I think at Wise they're like $1.40. So still collecting toys, just doing it at a really, really, really cheap and minuscule level.
Oh, Judy just mentioned a couple things. Judy actually lives a couple doors down from me here, and yeah, that would be awesome. To go, I just have to build up my stamina. I don't know how far I could walk yet, but definitely. Are you still working at the same place, Jude? Are you still over across in Pittston? But yeah, definitely. usually see his name's Joe Portelli. Joe usually drops it, but I haven't seen it. But this is his wife. So thank you for watching too. Appreciate it. You and Joe all the time. It's funny Twerk brought that up because I saw a couple. Oh, it was on Facebook. Someone I ended up being in like a 80s cartoon or 80s some type of 80s group where like cartoons and toys and stuff like that. Somehow I ended up there, but it was pretty cool. Somebody made a drawing of Megatron, right? And this was whoever drew this did a hell of a job. He hit
That's
Megatron.
awesome, John. Sorry.
Oh no. Megatron's actually holding like up by his throat. The evil guy from the GoBots. What the hell is his name? Psykill. The motorcycle, like the mean motorcycle guy. Like Megatron's holding up by like yeah, I could like kill you, buddy. I thought that was just neat.
You know, the GoBots are actually marketed first.
They were. Transformers came after the GoBots.
Yeah, GoBots were Hot Wheels, and the Transformers were Hasbro. And
Transformers ran right over GoBots.
Well, Hasbro they had GI Joe, and they learned a lot with GI Joe. It's like, okay, go to Marvel, have them come up with the mythos, and have them, have the supporting comic to let you know like who's good, who's bad. And then, because the Transformers were like they were a Japanese line of toys called Diachrome, and had nothing to do with anything that how it was marketed in America. But the Transformers, like I said, they did the same thing with GI Joe previously. They went to Marvel. Here are the figures. Here are the prototypes. Give them names. Give them backstories. Pick one who's going to be the leader on each side. And and then of course Marvel went to Sunbow, who was an animation house, and then you had the Marvel Sunbow Productions, and that was
they did Transformers, right? The
they did Transformers. They did GI Joe. They did Gem and the Holograms. They did My Little Pony.
Wow, I remember that. Now that you brought it up,
Gem and the Holograms. That was all. Well, not My Little Pony so much, although I believe that was a Sunbow cartoon, but Marvel wasn't really involved in that. But yeah, I mean, literally, it's like, okay, like they would go to Marvel with, to make up all the mythology and everything, and make up the canon and make up all that stuff. And it was a really successful marketing partnership back in the 80s. I mean, God, G.I. Joe and Transformers were huge.
If I remember I read right, or I was watching a YouTube thing on Transformers, like how it kind of came about. They got the guys here, whoever started here, was it Marvel? I forget. Anyway, they got the idea from Japanese anime, but when he got it, like they're the ones that created like Autobots, Good Robots, Decepticons, like they're the ones that
right. That was all Marvel.
Yeah. So I was right. Okay, I did read.
What it was? The Diaclone people, whatever. That's Takara Tomy in Japan. You'd probably recognize, you'd recognize it as in America. They did market some stuff, and it was under the brand name Tomy. But that was Takara Tomy, Tomi.
I remember.
They were actually, the company was Takara Tomy. And Takara Tomy, they were at a toy convention. They were looking to break into the American market. And they had these transforming robots. They had two lines of them. One were like everyday objects that were like life size, like Soundwave was like a tape recorder. Megatron was a Walther P-38. They had like the everyday real sized, transforming robots, and then they had the ones that were cars and trucks and airplanes, and they were trying to break into the American market. And Hasbro saw the booth, and they went insane. This is like the greatest thing I've ever seen. And like with Japanese culture is like worlds away from everybody else. I mean, they're on their little island there, and they basically they live in their own world. When they asked, well, this one I'm holding here, is he a good guy? Is he a bad? Oh, we don't do that. It's like we basically we make the toys, and the children make up whatever story they want to make up with the toys.
So Marvel took it and said, "Hey, let's run with this," and it worked.
Well, it's Hasbro who took it to Marvel and said, "Hey, we just made a deal. We hammered out a deal with this Japanese company to import all these toys. They're gonna do all the manufacturing. They're gonna make it for us, and we're gonna do all the marketing in the United States. But we don't know how to market it, to American kids. It's a different culture over there. Their kids actually have this thing called an imagination that our kids don't. So that's where you come in. Can you, do all the legwork and tell us who the heroes are, and tell us who the bad guys are, and who are the leaders, and who are the usurpers, like Starscream?" And
I was watching a video where they were talking to Peter. It was like one of the transfer. It was like the last anniversary that they had of the Transformers. I forget what year it was. It was like a year ago. I forget. Was it 40 years, 30? I can't remember.
I think they came out in 85 or 86, if I remember right.
They were talking to Peter Cullen and Frank Welker, Optimus Prime,
Megatron. Yeah.
And they were saying how like they didn't during that time they thought, okay, like one season and that was it. They never thought that it was going to blow up like it did. And they're talking about the point where when they did the movie Transformers the movie, and when they killed off Prime, like that was the first time in a cartoon that you saw something die, like literally die. And Peter was saying how all these letters were coming in where kids were so upset and they were crying, and Peter, like, all they were doing was moving from one, they're bringing another, the second generation toy line, so they had to do something with it, and that's how they like started killing.
If you saw, I actually saw the movie in the theater. It was in the West Side Theater over in Edwardsville.
Yeah, I saw it on video. I didn't see it in the movies.
Oh, I went to see it in the theater. And I mean, like, one thing you miss in that is in the background, a lot of the old Autobots like Jazz and Wheeljack, and like they were aboard Unicron, like getting thrown into a tank of like molten metal and being melted down as food for Unicron. They killed the entire first generation of Transformers,
and the ones that
Prime.
And they and in the beginning where Megatron, like they
he becomes Galvatron.
Well, yeah, but like when they attacked the shuttle and they killed like Brawn and Ironhide and like damn, and then they ended up killing off Starscream. I think that's
Galvatron hit him with one shot.
It's like, and then you see Chris Latta, who voiced Starscream, voiced
Cobra Commander,
which I thought was kind of neat because they did a crossover where he wasn't called Cobra Commander, he was called Snake, but it was Chris Latta doing Cobra Commander character. And at the end,
he was in the movie. He was actually had a live action in the movie Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze. He was
Chris Latta?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't.
Yeah, remember the guy who offered the other guy that he could, he can kiss his girlfriend's $20 or $10 a kiss for $20. He can kiss both of them.
Oh, that was Chris Latta? I didn't realize.
Yeah, the chubby guy with the the really attractive girlfriend
I remember that. I never.
That was him.
Chris Latta.
That was him.
And, but I liked at the end of that crossover. He's like, they just don't make terrorists like they used to. He's walking like, you hear him like now like older and like Cobra. Like,
that's a shame. He died. Chris Latta.
Yeah, I know that's. But it was like, getting back to the interview with Frank and Peter, they're like, all it was, they did that to bring in the next generation, the toy line. That's what they did. They killed off like the original. They said kids were crying, writing letters, going, "You killed like."
That's the whole thing that happened with the G.I. Joe movie. The G.I. Joe movie was supposed to get a theatrical release. Same as they put the Transformer movie out first,
right?
And the backlash from killing off Prime and the backlash was horrendous. If you remember, I don't know if you ever saw like Cobra Law and like Serpentor and the G.I. Joe movie.
I did actually, not then, but the last couple months on YouTube, they were doing they had it on YouTube, like the full movie. So I watched it. And I mean, I grew up watching. It was like I caught home from school. It was like Transformers, then G.I. Joe, and whatever else I watched after that. But it's but yeah, it's like I kind of like, I thought.
Well, they changed the whole movie around because of what happened with the Transformers. Number one, it didn't get a theatrical release. Number two, remember when Duke takes the serpent thing that Serpentor throws and he jumps in front of his half brother Falcon and gets it in the heart?
Yeah.
He died. It was supposed to be like another Optimus Prime moment where Duke gets killed in battle. And if you remember, like at the very end of it, Doc said, "Hey, Duke's gonna be okay."
Because like all the backlash from when they killed off Prime.
Yeah.
And then they brought Prime back and like he was
It was in the third season. They brought him back because overwhelmingly people wanted him back.
Yeah, so they brought him back first, like as the original, the Quintessons tried to make him as evil, but he like, and then they brought him back to Return of Optimus Prime. And then like maybe they did so many, and then it was just that was it. But it's like, damn, like the G.I. Joe the movie, I did not like. I don't want to say I don't want to say I hated it. I don't want to say
I kind of did.
Like
I kind of gave up on the toys shortly thereafter. It's like, okay, if this is the direction we're going,
like that Cobra Law, that was stupid. Like
that was ridiculous.
They had Burgess Meredith play, like, had a role in there somewhere.
Yeah, he was like the leader of Cobra Law, the snaky guy.
And how they, like how Cobra Commander came to be. But I'm like, this was like really bad.
You see, with Transformers and G.I. Joe, I was part of the whole Marvel marketing thing. I came to it from the comics. I had, in fact, at Wilkes-Barre Township, I was dumb enough one time. I used to bring my comics to school with me. And one time I brought my G.I. Joe #1 to school with me, and that got stolen. But yeah, I mean, I came to it from, before the Sunbow cartoons, which I, in a lot of ways felt were ridiculous. I came to it from comics, and I mean, the comics were intense. People died in the comics. Characters died in the comics. It was a war. I mean, Cobra Commander, his actual origin story was not Cobra Law.
I was going to say, I hope it was something better.
Not really. Oh. He was a used car salesman who got really frustrated with, he owned a used car dealership. Sorry. And he got really frustrated with laws and regulations, and he started out small, like cheating on his taxes, eventually it got to the point where he found other people who agreed with him. He found some financial backing. He hooked up with Colin Destro, who was an arms dealer, uh, who turned him on to a guy named Major Blood, who was a mercenary. Basically, and then he hooked up with the Dreadnoks, which they were always my favorites. The
I like
motorcycle gang.
Zartan.
Yeah, the motorcycle gang out of Australia.
I like I never followed the comic, but I watched the show, and how they would have like the Crimson Twins.
Yeah,
I like
Tomax and Zama.
Yeah, I was thought I liked them guys, and but I never really knew how until G.I. Joe the movie, like how Cobra Commander became he wore that thing on his face for what reason, and what happened to his face. And
oh, dude, his in the comics, his helmet was I remember the one time they captured him, and they had him in the pit. The pit was the GI Joe base. It was underneath the motor pool of an army base on the East Coast. I forget where, but they were holding him in the pit, and he started they were saying oh, you must be really hungry. Time to take that mask off. And had a little thing that would open up on the mat. Yeah, to allow him to sift things through a straw. Then they said that, well, Roadblock was I'm just going to rip that thing off your head. And he just slid back this one plate. And he's like, you probably don't want to do that. It was actually loaded. His helmet was loaded with C4. And if you try to forcefully remove it, it would explode.
Oh, Jesus.
It would not only take him out, but it would take out anything within a 20-foot radius of him.
And if you think about it, and listen to the in the show, the cartoons, some of the cartoon voices from Transformers were in G.I. Joe.
Oh yeah, it was all the same actors. Well, then again, Frank Welker did everything.
Yeah, the guy who I think he played Doc, but he also voiced Blaster.
He also voiced Foofer.
Who?
The dog, Foofer.
Oh, I forgot about it. Yeah.
He voiced Fred in Scooby Doo. I mean, he voiced everybody.
And I watched a video where the voice actors of the 80s and stuff, and Frank Welker did Fred, and he did the real Ghostbusters cartoon. He did something. One of them characters. He did.
He did Lion-O.
He did he?
I believe he did.
I know he did Kermit and Muppet Babies. Yeah.
The best is when he goes on to Family Guy and reprises some of those characters. They came up with this Family Guy situation of Scooby Doo and the gang chasing down a serial killer. And Fred Welker comes in. That's right, Scoob. We're dealing with one sick son of a bitch.
Well, if you think about it, Transformers was the first cartoon that used dirty, bad language
In the movie.
Yeah. Once in the movie.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And the first time I saw that, I'm like, wait, did he just say shit? I rewind. I'm like, he did say shit. Like, oh shit. Wait, what did he just say? Spike just said shit. And I loved watching those old cartoons and growing up.
Well, in the comics, the Decepticons were just, they were all over the place. Starscream wanted Megatron's job.
Even even in the cartoon, he wanted it.
Even in the cartoon, but also back on Cybertron. I forget the laser gun guy. I can't think of his name.
Shockwave?
Yes, thank you. He in the third issue of the comic declared Megatron dead and took I'm the leader now. Like everybody, I mean the Decepticons were like so disorganized and everything was everybody hated Megatron. Everybody wanted to get rid of him, and he was just so damn powerful and sneaky that you couldn't. And, I mean, they wrote some damn good The Marvel people. Larry Hama is the guy who wrote. He was the primary writer on GI Joe, and he was just such a phenomenally talented writer. He had actually lived like he was a Vietnam veteran, and I mean all the ninja stuff came from him, like in the comics.
Okay.
It didn't the ninja stuff did not translate well in the cartoon, in my opinion. But in the comics, it was phenomenal. I mean, the man was Japanese, and he was he there was a lot of that culture, the samurai and ninja culture. Like he brought stories that he heard in childhood into GI Joe, and then brought all that to the masses. Stories about ninjas and all that.
I mean, the cartoon, the G.I. Joe cartoon, I loved. Like, I thought it was like one of the best. Like I said, I come home from school during the week. You'd see the Transformers. There'd see the G.I. Joe, and I forget what else was after that. But also, I don't know if I just said it before because I can't remember. But someone clicked the QR code. Thank you. Whoever clicked the QR code.
It's just one of those situations where, where you saw a movie that you really enjoyed, and somebody says to you, you know what? If you thought the movie was good, go and read the book. The book is 10 times better.
I've heard that many times growing up throughout the years.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing. Same thing with GI Joe and Transformers. Go back and read the source material, the comic books.
They're 10 times. My two sisters love to read. Okay, I don't know if they're still packed anywhere or if they're just gone. But we've had like the Little House series of books.
Little House in the Big Woods, Little House on the Prairie, Little House.
We had all of those books because my sisters loved to. I don't know if it was both or one of them, but we had them. And who were the two? Oh, the Hardy Boys. We had.
I never got in. My mother tried like hell to get me into them. I think the Ouster House still has my Hardy Boys collection.
We had the Hardy Boy books and Nancy Drew and like I just never got into reading books. I wait for the movie to come out. Like when Michael Bay did the Transformer movie, live action. It was okay.
Well,
some of it. I mean, I thought it wasn't a bad movie, but the animated, back then movie kicks its ass. Like,
well, the comics. That was my childhood, though. I mean, I'm still I have a absolute stack of graphic novels. I mean, this is where the movie came from. Was this graphic novel right here? But I have a stack of graphic novels right next to me. I mean, I've always loved comic books. When it comes to, I have very, Jay knows I have very strong opinions when it comes to the DC universe and the Marvel universe in films and everything, because I grew up with that.
I have to laugh at what Twerk Amber just put. She goes, but at a certain age, I had to start watching I started acting like a girl, haha. So I started watching Dynasty. Before, I was old enough to go out at night, go out at night. I would sit and watch Dynasty with my mom. It was, I think, Friday nights. It was after the Dukes of Hazzard. And
I've never seen it.
What? Dynasty?
Yeah, never saw it.
I watched it with my mom for a while because like mom's like, my shows are on. Oh, okay, you got the TV. You know, back then, like you had like 1 or 2 TVs. That was it. Yeah, I remember Dynasty. It was Dukes of Hazzard, Dynasty, and then Falcon Crest. If I'm correct, Twerk, was that? Am I correct on that? And
I
then
think you are.
Dynasty did a spinoff called the Colbys, or had a spinoff called the shit. That's sad. I know all this shit. But it's Friday, like, Mom, we gotta be home in time for watch Dukes of Hazzard. Like, I'd be like, because Friday night we'd go to the store, and I was at that point I was not quite old enough to be left alone yet. So I'd have to go to the store with my parents, and then it'd be like at that point I think it came on at 8 or 9.
I think it was 8.
And so I'm like, come on, we gotta get home. We gotta get home. Like I'm running down the backyard, like catching it like right at like 8:05 again, like right when it came on.
I was just saying it's making me laugh because one show that was on back then was not the 18th. It was on, but no, it was The Master with Lee Van Cleef as the
ninja guy.
Yeah.
I remember watching The Master.
Tim Van Patten. It was 2 seasons. Lee Van Cleef and Tim Patten.
I think I actually liked that too.
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I didn't it didn't pop into my head that anytime that he had to walk on a tightrope or do something really athletic, that he had the mask on, and it was his stunt double doing all of it, and all of a sudden he didn't have the pot belly anymore either. But that Mystery Science Theater 3000 did a spoof of The Master. Or not? Well, they gave it to the MST 3K treatment, and it was absolutely hilarious. In fact, maybe I'll even watch that tonight.
Do you remember? Probably let me watch whatever I want, including. It's just got ahead in my head. Oh, The Highlander.
I hated that show. I had the whole thing, or I had the whole thing. I do have the whole thing.
I started watching that. I didn't realize that they actually had like Christopher Lambert was like the original. Like I never saw it. So when I'm like, oh, there's like an actual movie with Christopher, I was like, oh, this is a lot better. But
yeah. Oh my God, the Highlander franchise is like the most botched thing ever.
Oh, now it is, yeah.
Well, no, even back then, the first movie was wonderful. The first movie, it had a beginning, it had a middle, and unfortunately for them, it had an end. And they didn't want it to end because the thing was so successful. So it's like, okay, I don't know if you ever saw, the second one, the Highlander 2, which was an absolute goddamn train wreck.
Was that the one where like he was from the planet Zeist or some shit?
Yep.
Yeah, that was terrible.
The dreaded planet Zeist. And then from that point on, any sequel, you had to pretend like the first movie never happened, or the second movie never happened. Like so they did Highlander 3 with Mario Van Peebles as the bad guy.
That wasn't bad. I liked that.
It was better. It was a better. But the thing is, you had to pretend that 2 never happened for that to work. It was a direct sequel to the first one, not the second one, because they completely tried to rewrite the second one out of canon totally because it was just absolutely ludicrous. The only reason Christopher Lambert, the only reason he did it was because he really loved, he was good friends with Sean Connery after the first movie. He wanted to work with him again. And they had to figure out a way to bring him back to life in the second one, which is just the way they did it was completely, again, ludicrous. Then with the Highlander series, you had to pretend that none of the movies happened. And then when they got to, they made a movie from the series Highlander Endgame, which I actually gave a woman I worked for. my boss in this one factory I worked at was absolutely obsessed with the series. She loved it. So I watched it once and gave it to her. I'm like, I don't even want it. She's like, this is the.
Endgame.
It's like, wait a minute. He's gonna kill Chris. He's gonna kill Connor. Connor's the one who ends up with the prize. How the hell does this work?
Yeah, and when they had Duncan kill off Connor, I was like, you gotta be shitting me.
I think I walked away from the TV at that time. You know, when I saw that, it's like, oh my god,
Now
no.
I liked during that movie, I liked where the I forget who the bad guy was, but like you know how like you're supposed to follow, like you know you can't kill on
Holy ground.
holy ground. Like, well, they're like this guy
They
went
violated that in the third movie too.
and get like this guy went rogue and just started killing everybody, and they had to. I was like, he was like a badass. I was like, yeah. But let's see. Oh, I think.
And I mean, come on, the first episode of the Highlander series had Bull from Night Court as the bad guy.
Like,
It was Bull.
I don't know if I ever actually saw the first episode, but I remember seeing it.
The first episode had Christopher Lambert in it, and it was basically like he was there to kick off the series. And the first, bad guy adversary was Bull was Bull from Night Court. He played a character called Slan the cat. It's like, oh my god, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I never saw the series with Christopher Lambert. It was always.
Oh, he was in the first. He was in the first episode, and then he would show up and make guest appearances here and there because
I've never seen him like make it on that. I know the Duncan was trying to like had like that sidekick dude.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And besides, without Sean Connery, the dawn of time we came, moving silently down through the centuries.
Sean Connery's the shit. Like, I mean, even like when he played in The Last Crusade with Harrison Ford, Sean Connery was still the man.
He was perfect. I mean, literally, the father of Indiana Jones is James Bond. That was the only James Bond movie that I ever watched that I really enjoyed too. Was when he did trying to think of the name of it. Never Say Never Again. I saw that in the theater when I was a kid, and I remember I really enjoyed it. I was never much of a James Bond person.
I saw a video where they were talking to Lucas, and which I thought was a train wreck. Like after The Last Crusade, it was the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Which I thought was good. I saw that in the theater. I took my my ex-wife and my niece to see it.
For some reason, I could not follow that, but it was cool at the end.
Just my ex-wife, sorry.
It was cool at the end where they had a picture of Connery, and
that was in the beginning.
I thought it was at the end.
Maybe they did at the end.
When he married the girl from Raiders of the Lost Ark, and at one point,
Karen Allen.
Yeah, the doors fly open, and his hat gets. And I thought they had a picture of Sean Connery. I can't.
They did in the beginning. They had a picture of Denholm Elliott, who played Marcus Brody, and Sean Connery, who of course played his father. Denholm Elliott had actually died of AIDS several years before. In fact, it was I think in the 90s he died of AIDS.
Did you see the latest Indiana Jones movie? Because I know I didn't.
Yeah, I did. I liked it. I liked it. I mean, I'm a big fan of the franchise. So I'm pretty much I'm gonna like anything they put out there.
I'll have to do Disney for like a month just to watch that.
Yeah, I have Disney Plus. The retrospective that they did with, if you're a Beatles fan, the thing they did with the thing they did with Let It Be was really, the Let It Be sessions was really good. It's like 6 hours of unused footage from the movie. And I've always been a huge fan of the Beatles, so. I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing it. The Beatles.
The Beatles. I never got into the Beatles. Like just for just not that I didn't like. I just never got into their music. I don't know why.
It's I don't know. When I was little, my first real exposure uh, to music that I would consider cool now would be like when I was about 3 or 4. Kiss was huge, and they were being marketed to me as a little tyke. They were being marketed to me as superheroes. So they were superheroes who played rock and roll,
Kiss
and
Me for Phantom.
it was like Superman with a guitar. You know, it was amazing, and I thought I thought it was just the most. I had the color forms, I had the dolls, I had I when I was like 5, the thing was I was either going to grow up to be Darth Vader or Gene Simmons, one or the other. That was like my life plan at 5 years old. I was either going to be a rock star or the guy who runs the Death Star. And height wise, I mean, I came pretty close to David Prowse. We're about the same height.
It's like I'm trying to think what other shows I like back in the day like that I watched all the time. Well, Saturday mornings watch the Super Friends. That was always my thing. Saturday mornings.
I was shocked to learn. Remember Ted Knight from like Too Close for Comfort
Yeah,
and Mary Tyler Moore? He was the one who did the narration for the Super Friends.
that was it for the first one, like for the original, like
I
not
mean, like the voice of Meanwhile back at the Legion of Doom.
so
That was
it
him.
was in the challenge of the Super Friends.
No, he did like like he was the narrator.
Meanwhile,
Meanwhile,
I'll have to watch that I'll have to pull up a YouTube clip and watch just to listen. Um,
yeah, that was literally Ted Knight.
Meanwhile, in the Legion of Doom,
Or
banded
again,
together, like yeah,
Family Guy when Meg dated the narrator from the Super Friends. Meanwhile, underneath Meg Griffin's bra.
there was Quantum Leap was good too. I liked I didn't
Never saw
watch
it,
it a
never got
lot.
into it.
I would watch it like I didn't follow it faithfully, but like if it was on, if I'm looking for something and it was on, I watched it. Quantum Leap. Um, there was, which was really cheesy. Oh, he was on 16. Auto Man. That was
Oh God,
that was so cheesy.
that's yeah. They apparently they couldn't get the rights to Tron to make a series out of it, so they
So
just
they came up with the Auto Man with
with
Desi
his
Arnaz Jr.
yeah with his what I forget the car. It was either a Ferrari or a Lamborghini done
I
up
think it was a
in like
Lambo. I think
yeah, I think it had the gull wing doors
it's like
or Manimal. If you're gonna go down that road, like unsuccessful, like Airwolf and Manimal and
I never watched Airwolf. I don't know why. I just never.
it was basically Knight Rider with a helicopter.
Right, and me, that's like Knight Rider kicked ass. I always watch Knight Rider. Um, yeah,
I don't know. I stopped thinking that David Hasselhoff was cool when I saw an import record in the record store, and it was him on the hood of a Trans Am with a guitar, and it said Night Rocker.
he
Because
was
like
big. He was big
uh,
overseas. Like he was
in
really
Germany, and to this day, in Germany he's a god.
over here. He's like, yeah, who? Wait, he was that
Well,
guy.
over here he's kind of a joke. In Germany, the man could probably run for chancellor and win. You know, even though he's not a citizen, he could probably run for the German chancellorship and get it.
MacGyver. I liked. I watched. And I didn't watch it, but I watched it. If it was on, I watched it like I liked how MacGyver would take like a pencil, a piece of string, and break out of something or do some shit. I'm trying to think, man. My brain's shot. 18
Family Ties. Family Ties was fun.
I liked Family Ties in the early season, like when they brought on that other little kid, and it's and they were getting older. It's kind of like oh, come on.
Well, when I was a teenager too, I had an enormous crush on Justine Bateman.
Yeah,
Justine Bateman. Yeah, I had a huge crush on her.
a lot of guys back then. Either it was like Daisy Duke, or Heather Locklear from the Fall Guy. No, that was Heather Thomas from the Fall Guy. Fall Guy kicked ass. That's a show I liked.
Because I'm the unknown stuntman who makes Eastwood such a star.
They made a, I don't know if it actually ever came out, but they made a movie, The Fall Guy.
Yeah, that's right, they did.
Reynolds, or I think it was Ryan Reynolds. I'm like, you gotta be shitting me. Like, no, come on. Like, The Fall Guy was Lee Majors. Colt Seavers was Lee Majors.
And yes, the A-Team. I think I just mentioned it by mistake before, but basically Mr. T playing himself like he does in any film or TV series that he's in. He basically just plays Mr. T. And then Howlin' Mad Murdoch and
well, it was funny.
Face.
Dwight Schultz. Dwight Schultz who played Murdoch. After the A-Team was over and it was done, I liked the Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Me too. Yeah, he was Barkley.
I never put for a long time. I did not put two and two together. That was Howlin' Mad Murdoch.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And then I'm listening to the voice, and I was watching A-Team clips earlier, so I'm like, wait a minute, that voice sounds familiar. So I'm like, holy shit, that's Howlin' Mad Murdoch.
Hell, he's the one who got he was in Voyager too. Lieutenant Barkley's the one who helped get him home.
Yeah. I liked him better as HR or HM, Howlin' Mad Murdoch. But it was in the A-Team movie, which I have my back and forth. But at the end, the cameos, they had Dwight Schultz, Dirk Benedict. It's the guy who played Murdoch in the movie. Actually, he played a pretty good version of Murdoch from his character. Liam Neeson, I think, played a good George Peppard.
I love it when a plan comes together.
The guy, Bradley Cooper, played Face. It was funny watching him and Dirk Benedict. What should I do? Just leave it alone, kid. Just let it go.
Actually, Dirk Benedict was not the original Face. They had another guy in the pilot.
I remember, and I'm watching. Wait a minute. Yeah, the first couple episodes was not Dirk Benedict.
No, just the pilot episode it wasn't.
Oh, what? Because I know the reason why was because Dirk Benedict was still under contract, or he still worked for Battlestar Galactica.
They actually have a Cylon in the beginning of the opening credits.
Yeah, he's
at some kind of convention or something.
He's like yeah. I saw it. I was like, yeah, cool. Which was made by the same guy, Battlestar Galactica, A-Team. What the hell else?
Glenn Larson did the A-Team.
I believe so.
Because yeah. I know he did Buck Rogers. I know he did. He was all over TV.
Oh yeah, but it's there wasn't. Dirk Bennick was not the original face.
I forget who played him, but yeah, in the pilot they had a different guy.
No, Genie. Yeah, the movie wasn't bad. I mean, like I said, to play Hannibal, Liam Neeson, I think did a good job. The guy who played Face and Murdoch, but the one who did Mr. T, who played his part,
So I never really got into the Fall Guy. I remember watching it when I was a kid, and I really wasn't all that into it because I'm sorry, but Lee Majors was the Bionic Man. He wasn't a stunt. He wasn't a stunt man.
He was an astronaut.
He was the $6 million man. You know, it's like I'm waiting for him to pick up car engines and throw them, or do battle with Andre the Giant as Bigfoot, or whatever. But the Fall Guy, it's like for in my little kid head, all he could ever do is disappoint because he's not the $6 million man anymore. And that's where I stand on the Fall Guy.
Now, I read online that when they redid the Fall Guy movie, Lee Majors and Heather Thomas did have some type of cameos in it somewhere. But I don't know how true that was.
Yeah, you got to wonder what the hell ever happened to Lee Majors. I mean, he used to be in everything. He was married to Farrah Fawcett. He was, he was like basically your television action hero. And then just one day you wake up and he's just not there.
I think
it's not like he transitioned it. He didn't transition in the film.
No, he was in a movie. Oh crap! Where he kind of played himself. I can't remember. Oh, like not maybe a couple of years back, but like you tell, time caught up with him.
Well, yeah, I mean he's an old man now. He's got to be in his 80s. But what I'm saying is, like back then, like that's something like when the 80s hit, he was just gone.
Yeah, pretty much. Like new shit came out.
He wasn't like popping up as a villain or anything in Knight Rider. He was just gone. He didn't end up on Fantasy Island, at least not that I remember. He didn't end up, because that's where you're on a show like Fantasy Island or Love Boat. You're either on your way up or on your way down. You're either Heather Locklear or you're Sonny Bono.
Yeah.
There was no in between. Maybe Ricardo Montalban was kind of like in between there.
I mean, I loved Fantasy Island. Like, Mr. Rourke was like, he was like the nice stuff, but he was also like he was like a dirty motherfucker back in the day. Like,
welcome to Fantasy Island.
Sorry. He'd have there was one clip I saw on YouTube where he meets the devil, and he's like, I guess there was this feud between the devil and Mr. Rourke.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like, no, you can't. And then they try to do a spinoff with, I guess, it's supposed to be Mr. Rourke's daughter or niece or some shit that inherited the island. They tried to do a spinoff with they tried to make it more darker.
It sounds vaguely familiar.
And it pretty much crashed. The plane. The tattoo.
Hervé Villechaize. Yeah, he was a sad story.
I saw the video on him, like they did a story, and yeah, it was.
I mean, basically all the guy wanted to do was be an artist. He wanted to be a painter.
But the boss, what the tattoo? Let's
tattoo. But the best Ricardo Montalban was Khan.
Oh yeah, he didn't get enough kudos for that part. Like he didn't get enough whatever the word you're looking for, but can't remember.
I have 5 times your physical strength.
But Khan, even like in in the series, the original when they first brought Khan, he was like this
Space
badass.
Seed.
Yeah, and then when they brought him back for the Wrath of Khan, it's like I was like, yeah, Khan's back.
Well, that was like, I mean, literally, they let the fans choose. They're like, okay, well, we're going to do a sequel. What, we need a villain. We want to take a villain from the past. Do you want one of the Klingons? Do you want, like they basically like did like a fan like at the conventions and everything. Who would you like to see as the villain that comes back from the original series? Overwhelmingly, everybody wanted to see Khan.
Oh yeah, and I believe because Khan was like he wanted to like he just wanted to kill Kirk and just you didn't expect to find me. You thought this was SETI Alpha 5 or SETI Alpha 6.
SETI Alpha 6.
On SETI Alpha 5 there was life. This is SETI Alpha 5. Then he's like kind of gets his composure back like okay.
Picks up Chekhov. Why are you here? Why are you here?
And he goes to the other the captain of the. He's like, I never met Admiral Kirk. Admiral. Never told you how the USS Enterprise picked up the Botany Bay. You tried to kill him and steal a ship and murder him. Yeah, I watched part of an interview where Ricardo Montalban was talking about when they asked him to reprise the role as Khan. And that was it.
Time to hit the gym.
Then when they redid, like when who the hell was the dude?
Cumberbatch.
No, when the new Star Trek the what was that dude's name? Not
Cumberbatch.
But no, the director guy.
Abrams.
Yeah, Josh Abrams. Like the guy he picked for Khan. Like
I thought Cumberbatch did a damn good job as Khan.
I mean, I think if he wasn't as Khan, he was a good actor. He was a good actor. Don't get me wrong, but it's like I can't see this like even into Khan, like Ricardo Montalban Khan, where you could see you could kind of see where Chris. What the fuck was his name? The one who they picked for Chris Pine evolved evolved into an older Kirk. The Doctor. Too bad Chekhov got killed though. The guy who played Chekhov.
Yeah, I agree.
They're supposed to be doing another Star Trek, like another
yes,
movie.
They are.
It's not going to be the same without Chekhov though.
Well, you got to look. I mean, when you talk about the original series, like one anachronism from movies to original series. Ricardo Montalban's Khan says to Chekhov, "I never forget a face. You are Chekhov." They never met. Walter Koenig was not part of the original series when Ricardo Montalban played Khan.
Chekhov wasn't. Well, Walter was he in that series.
Walter Koenig joined in the last two seasons. And he was there basically because they wanted a young guy to compete with Davy Jones. They actually had him wear a wig the first couple of episodes. That was like a Beetle mop top. If you look, you'll see it.
I'll have to pull it up and look at it.
Yeah, he's wearing a wig, and they because the monkeys are actually beating them out in that time slot. That's why they got Walter Koenig, was to be like another Davy Jones.
Oh, makes sense.
But yeah, he wasn't part of the show yet when the Space Seed episode aired. Yeah, he didn't come along like I said. He didn't have the weapons desk until probably season 3.
Well, they're good.
Plus, it's the military too, so it's as far as okay, you're not going to have somebody reprise Chekhov's role. You're just going to explain that he transferred to another ship or whatever, you know.
I guess I hope they write him off like in a good way, like they just don't drop like how in Star Trek, was it Star Trek 4? No, 5. Wait, the last one, the Undiscovered Country, or the last one the last one they did before Generations. We're like,
Okay.
where's Sulu? He's captain now. Like they, even though he was in this, but they made him like captain of the Excelsior, and
Right.
hope they like say, oh, Mr. Chekhov is on a assignment in whatever.
Remember in the Undiscovered Country when Christian Slater had a walk-on cameo and he actually had to go to Sulu's quarters and wake him up to let him know that Kirk was on trial, and that they
Oh,
basically remember, like, it was Christian Slater. He had like a walk-on role in Star Trek
was
6.
that Slater?
Yeah,
I did not know that. Or
yeah.
is that when Mr. Sulu, or when Sulu's like what is, like, woke him out of a dead sleep? That
Yeah,
scene. That was Christian Slater. Shit.
yeah. You know how he got that.
How?
His mother was the casting director for Star Trek 6.
That would do it. Christian Slater. I never put two and two. That was Christian Slater.
Yeah, yeah. That's how he got the walk on. He wanted to be. He wanted that credit on his. He wanted the, because credits are everything, like screen credits, and he wanted to be credited for being in a Star Trek movie. So that's how he got it. Oh, you gonna look it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Undiscovered Country's a weird one. Like, you had Christopher Plummer in there, who was a very well respected actor. I mean, it's the kind of thing, like, him and Shatner are best friends, or were, and it's like, how the hell did that happen?
Oh, I'm watching the clip now, kinda, and they have him shown like where he's like kinda like in the dark.
He's like
So
he's in like silhouette.
yeah, so you can't really like see him. Like because it's dark, and yeah, okay, now I got it. Signal Starfleet. We have no idea location of Enterprise, sir. You ever hearing problem? No. But it's like, I liked how I liked Spock in that one. Like, I liked him in all of them, I have to say. But it's funny, like Star Trek, in Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan, there's one part where because Leonard Nimoy voiced Galvatron in the Transformers. Well, there's one spot where Spock's talking to Kirk, and like you hear Galvatron, like I'm like, oh, that's Galvatron's voice. when the scene where Khan thinks that the Enterprise is damaged more than it, and like he's like, it's 2 hours, and they beam him up, and they're going, I guess they have to crawl through the Jeffrey tube. He's like, that's my son, and he's like, fascinating, and it sounded just like Galvatron, like the Galvatron voice. I was like, son of a bitch. They said though, like when Nimoy did the voice of Galvatron, like he walked in and like nobody could talk to him. He went, did his thing. He did like he was like a really serious actor from what they were saying. Like he didn't shit around. I was like, damn.
Method acting. I'd like you believe you're Galvatron or something.
I Galvatron crush you as a Megatron crushed Prime. Then Robert Stax play Ultra Magnus.
Yeah. Orson Welles played Unicron.
They said they had to. At that point, he was like, that was his last thing he did. Then he died. But like they said, they had to literally, because he was like so bad, they had to. I don't know if he had like air mask like on or something, or they had to do something to tweak the voice because he just was that bad in health. But he did it. Then like what sucked though in like the carts like generation when the cartoon episodes like with like Rodimus Prime and shit now, and like they'd go to Unicron's head and like you'd hear Unicron, it's like, no, it's not the same Unicron. You just like, nah.
Well, like look at that was another one too, Rodimus Prime, who was Hot Rod before.
Right.
He was voiced by Judd Nelson.
Now, was he in the cartoon series or no? Judd Nelson.
No.
I didn't think so.
They had Don Johnson voice Lieutenant Falcon in the G.I. Joe movie.
I remember that. G.I. Joe. Yeah, I loved G.I. Joe until I saw when I was watching the G.I. Joe the movie. I was like, oh come on. Even when they were like Arise Serpentor, that like miniseries.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, all right.
Larry Hama, the writer for the comics, absolutely hated Serpentor. Serpentor was literally killed off within 5 issues.
Yeah, after like even with the cartoon, like you saw Serpentor, and then like one day, gone. Nothing was even mentioned about it. It was like back to Cobra Commander and Destro, and
yeah, like I said, Larry Hama absolutely hated the Serpentor character. Got rid of him fast. I mean, he had the creative control to do it too. I mean, he basically wrote the entire unit, like all those the file cards on the back of every one of those figures. Larry Hama wrote that. Like he would write all that stuff.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that wasn't taken from his writing. He actually wrote that stuff. They commissioned him to do all because it was his canon, his story. You didn't mess with it.
And when they tried to, he killed it really quick.
And oh my god, I mean there were certain characters. They actually the character of Tunnel Rat was created in his honor. Because that's what he did during Vietnam. He was one of the guys in the tunnels, and that was like what they used to call those guys. They called them tunnel rats. The ones that would flush the enemy out of tunnels and stuff in the Vietnam War. That was what he did. And I mean the character is a Japanese American person. And I believe they actually named the character Larry Hama, like his real name. Hey Rob, what's up?
What's up, Rob? Gina, are you talking about the Transformers, like the animated movie, or the live action?
I know Gina really likes the live action ones, and she did. I know as a fact she watched the animated one before.
I think like the part of like what's his name? Damn it, I can't think tonight.
There was one character
in the live action. Who played Sam? I can't think of it. I can't remember his name. He played with Harrison Ford in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Oh, Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah. Okay. Is that who it was? It's his character in the trend. I was like,
Yeah, I had trouble. I saw the first one. I have it on DVD somewhere, and I was not impressed with it. Yeah, but what I was going to say with Larry Hama, the creator of G.I. Joe, or the head writer, I should say, they had another character he had trouble with was Owen King. The Mysterio guy, I forget his actual name, but he was like
Okay.
remember he had like the hypnotic shield, and he was born
Yeah.
the seventh son of a seventh son. They found out, Hasbro found out that Owen King, Stephen King's youngest son, was a big fan of the franchise and a big fan of the comics and a big fan of the action figures. So they actually they created a character, like a horror type character, and named it after Owen King, just to get on get on his father's good side. I don't know, but I mean they're both. Hasbro was a New England company. That the Kings lived in Maine. There was that whole thing, but you got to know Larry Hama couldn't stand. You know, I don't really recall him being in the comics very much. Let's just put it that way. When things started getting weird, right around the time of Serpentor and Doctor Mindbender.
I didn't mind the Dr. Mindbender. I didn't mind him too much. Then when he's like, we need to make a new emperor.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like when Mindbender got in, that's when things started getting a little weird with GI Joe. It became less military drama and more sci-fi. It was more about science fiction and ninjas. And you had like basically ninja astronaut kind of stuff happening. And that's when GI Joe started going off the rails a bit, or a lot, really. That's then you ended up in Cobra Law. And then
Yeah.
they did a season. They did a season after the movie. I don't know how the hell. I remember they Baroness found Cobra Commander slithering around on the ground, and they had some way to reverse, what they did to him. That's and again, that deviated from the comics totally, because he became the armored Cobra Commander after that. Like they had that suit of armor for him. And in the comics, the suit of armor guy was he was a Fred. And when I say a Fred, I'm talking about the Crimson Guards. They were called Freds. They were just guys that were surgically altered to all look alike, and they they lived all around the country. But yeah, the Crimson Guard were awesome. And Fred was he was a Crimson Guardsman. He was the one who designed and built the suit. And he also did a hell of an impersonation of Cobra Commander, like voice-wise. So when Cobra Commander and Destro in the comics, they went missing for a while. They kind of, they both kind of went underground, and they stuck together, but they were trying to explore their old lives, like the lives that they left behind and everything.
Oh, okay.
And Cobra Commander had a son named Billy, and he went to visit his son was in a coma. He got really lumped up after this. They actually recruited his son to assassinate him, and they didn't realize that he was his son. Like I said, the comics get very involved. He ended up losing a leg. He ended up in a coma, and he didn't want to go back to Cobra. He wanted to stay at his son's bedside and all that. Well, like I said, in the meantime, there was a void. Serpentor was dead. Cobra had no leader. Fred stepped up with his suit that he built for him, the bulletproof suit, and put on his best Cobra Commander voice. And they're like, okay, well, we got to get the Baroness in here. Baroness is the only one who knows what Cobra Commander looks like without his mask. If she says that that's Cobra Commander, then we got to go with it. And he took off the mask for her, and she just smiles and says, I could work with this. And he basically becomes her puppet. She runs Cobra with him as a front. Because all she ever has to do is just say that, you know what, all she ever has to do is out him. And because all the Fred guys are surgically altered to all look alike, if you took off that mask, he looks like a Fred. So, like I said, comics get really involved.
Oh yeah.
Nemesis Enforcer. Oh God, that guy, the wing guy, butterfly guy.
It's almost midnight.
Well, get me talking about comics, man, and you know where that goes.
That's fun. No, we had a good night. We had a good show. We're gonna wrap it up. It's midnight. My goofy dog I got to take outside. But guys, thank you, Mike. Thank you again for another great night, guys. Thank you all for hanging out with us for our 9, 10, 12, almost 3 hours this night, almost. But hey, until next week. Next week's the 4th. I want to hear stories. I want to hear some cookout stories. You guys out there. All right. Be blessed. Stay safe, everyone. See you next week.